Hello, and welcome back to the NoScore Review Show. I'm your host, Nick Green, and joining me once again is Scott Milne. Welcome back to the show, Scott.
Let's go!
Let's go! Today, we are reviewing the Super Mario Brothers movie. The official new video game adaptation by Illumination and Nintendo.
I think that's the key word right there. New, right? So, because
the definitive, maybe the one that Nintendo wants people to think is the one and only. We are going to be reviewing the Super Mario Brothers movie today. The first bit of this review will be spoiler free, so we won't get into any huge plot details or Easter egg details or anything. We'll just do our general thoughts first, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty with an official spoiler warning. Yeah. So without further ado, Scott.
Yeah.
You're also wearing some Super Mario attire. We got all of our stuff. Yeah. There you go. That's better.
This was a shirt that I think I got during the Wii U launch when that first came out, and it was like the promotional shirt that Best Buy was handing out at the time. So
nice. Yeah. That was like the midnight release gift you got with your console.
Yeah. Well,
nice.
At the time that I set off to the side for myself because I was staff there. So yeah, right. It went for like us.
You're not so midnight release.
Yeah. But anyways, we're here talking about movies today, not games. So even though
we won't get on too much of a tangent, I also tried to redecorate my merch shelf in the back. I did what I could with what I had. I don't have any like Mario plushies or anything. Yeah. Is that a plushie like in your background?
Yeah, this is a swamp right here. And then just slightly below, I have my amiibos. They're probably a little bit hard to see. Maybe just like on our smaller screens, but probably in the edit of it, you might be able to see them a little bit more. I keep on trying to like lean over so you can see it. So.
Like we'll have to talk like this the whole review. But yeah, general thoughts, Scott. Do you want to start us off?
This movie nourished my soul. It absolutely blew me away. You can tell that like Nintendo and especially Shigeru Miyamoto really cared about this. They wanted to get everything right that they possibly could.
Totally.
And I think them pairing up with Illumination allowed them to get that sort of level of detail done. Especially with like how crisp the animation is. There were times where I was looking and even like the catch light in characters' eyes would match their surrounding. I got a note for spoiler territory later that caught my eye with that.
It is a gorgeous film. Yeah. It's easily Illumination's most beautiful film, and I mean just best film overall. I mean, that is a little bit of a low bar personally. I think being with Illumination, I'm curious to know how many meetings Nintendo had with different animation studios. Like I imagine it would have been impossible to work with the likes of Disney, just with like the sheer size of both of them.
They're like butting heads competing empires, right? So
well, like, and like people always kind of associate Nintendo as like the Disney of the video game industry. So
this is kind of helping them separate from that, so that they're more so just like, well, no, it's more so Disney is the movie industry of Nintendo. So
I think Illumination is small enough that they were able to have that amount of control, and it didn't come off as like super corporate, like producers sticking their hands in everything. Yeah. It felt very genuine and wanting to try and deliver the most authentic Mario story as possible, while still being able to kind of elaborate on where, like, because I mean, obviously with the video games, you don't get a ton of character work or background on these characters. So
I think maybe at most, maybe like Super Mario Sunshine or some more of like the other spin-off titles.
Or like the Luigi's Mansion games, like in the beginning. sequences.
Yeah, like you're given an initial 5 minutes of stories, and then it's just okay, go play. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I mean, I felt like this is what that movie was all about, was like letting the characters go play as well.
For sure. Yeah. I think for me personally anyway, they didn't do a ton of character stuff and complex story work. It was very much like just getting, for lack of a better word, the bare bones of it all in order for them to be able to play in this playground of the Mushroom Kingdom and everything.
And as well, just with the format of it, I mean, I'm going to ask a question for you, seeing as how we were both in the theater for this. Yeah, did you feel 20 years older than the target demographic in the theater?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think this film is definitely skewed more towards kids. It's not your like Pixar or DreamWorks like all ages type of film.
Which, I mean, ties into like Nintendo's whole philosophy with Mario, right? Is like he is like their family friendly character. So it goes, they're always targeting towards kids. So, which is very much what like this movie was all about. So it's just like, this is for kids. And just to touch back like on with like story and development, like it's a lot more faster pace. Because it's just like its total runtime was like what, an hour 20-ish,
hour 30.
Yeah,
I think.
So like it's like we're getting through this quick because we know just how much those youngsters can sit still for. So because that was my case with it. Was I was with my girlfriend's son. I took him to it, and probably around the hour mark, he was getting right fidgety.
A little antsy.
He was enjoying the absolute heck out of it, but you know, definitely it's just
was he? That's good.
Like all the chair rocking and all this and that. You know, like he's a kid, right? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had a very like good ratio of families and kids in my opening night showing.
To old gamer dudes.
Yeah, I think I don't even think, although it was a little hard to tell because I think if there were a significant amount of like people my age and older, you wouldn't really notice because they're going to be quiet the whole film.
Exactly.
But there were like a few groups of teenagers here and there, and they were actually the like worst part of the movie theater audience. Like there were a couple stinkers in the audience that would like scream and shout every time an Easter egg would be on screen, like, oh my god, that's Punch-Out! And it's like, come on, man, you don't need to do that. But yeah, it was actually really nice hearing the amount of excitement from all the families and kids in the audience. You could feel the energy coming from them, which was great.
Which one thing I could touch on quick with like with the cast and stuff that they had for it, because this does relate. I mean, probably more so our demographic. Yes, like we care about the cast who's delivering good performances and stuff. Kids, no, they just see Bowser. They see Mario.
Yeah.
And they yell and point at the screen, that's Bowser. Or like, that's Dry Bones. It's like that's all they care about. Like they're seeing the characters they love. So which is,
I think it works for this film. And I think going forward, because I feel like I have a good feeling about this film doing well at the box office and being able to set up a Mario universe and potentially a Nintendo universe going forward.
Yeah.
But with subsequent films, I feel like, especially with the older demographic, this might be more on my end personally, but like the Easter eggs and stuff that were in this film were amazing and fantastic. And that's probably what tied it over a lot of the older demographic. Yeah. But I think going forward, I would like a little bit more complex story work at least. I don't know how much they would want to do complex character work, because like you don't need to go super in depth with Mario and Luigi and all them.
Yeah, for characters who, you know, haven't really changed that much in over 40 years now.
Yeah,
like outside of just Mario having his name changed from Jumpman to Mario.
Yeah,
or Princess Peach being formerly like Princess Toadstool. So I mean,
yeah.
That
I think, I think as like in terms of brainstorming, maybe doing something as even as simple as like a Luigi's Mansion movie where Luigi is the scaredy cat that he was in this film, and then kind of growing into a little bit more confident and brave. Like even that would be a little bit more substantial, I feel. Because like Mario didn't really even have much of an arc in this film, but I mean, like you said, it's a pass with this film for sure. Because he's exploring this new world, and I mean, you could build off of that with subsequent like sequels and whatnot, because there's just an insane amount of different worlds he can go and explore and like be new.
I think just to touch like on a quick writing scheme thing, I mean, it's very much simply hero's journey stuff where, you know, he's taken out of his element, thrown into the Mushroom Kingdom. We probably skip over a couple steps of trials and tribulations, or like it's just very quick. And so with it, like you're not getting those flashes of, you know, like super character development, but you definitely still are getting like that full story arc, so that
for sure
it just
in the moments of like the training montage and the Donkey Kong sequence, right, the Donkey Kong fight, those are standouts for sure, where he is able to kind of master the elements of the world a little bit better. But yeah, I think it was still a great 90 minutes. It's chock full of Easter eggs for the older fans to enjoy.
Boy, is it.
And I think the performances are serviceable enough that it's not like offensive to people, and not in the offensive sense of like they're doing stereotypical Italian accents, but like just the offensive of like it's taking you out of the film and it's a terrible performance. I think everyone is like doing a serviceable job at the bare minimum, and they're very safe casting choices for the most part. But then you have standouts like Jack Black and Keegan Michael Key, and even I enjoyed Seth Rogen personally as Donkey Kong. I thought he was great. So yeah, I think that'll probably do it for our general thoughts. So I think we can finally dive into spoiler territory. So this is your official spoiler warning for the Super Mario Brothers film.
It's time to jump in.
It's time to jump in. We're going to the what is it called? The sewer level or the pipe level?
Underground.
I don't know. Some Mario reference. Yes, this is your official spoiler warning. If you don't want to know any details about the Super Mario Brothers film, then click off now. Come back once you've seen it, or if you don't care, then stick around. So, Scott, what were some highlights for you in this film?
Oh boy. My one thought is that holy crap, they are really they really tailored something to, like, you know, the almost 40-year history of Mario.
Totally.
Obviously, like at the very beginning of the movie, we're starting off with like a lot of those like NES references. You know, like after they show the commercial and they have the, you know, the cameo character of Charles Martinet, where I'm thinking that character of him is based off of some original art design from like the arcade stuff.
I imagine so.
But like him as well.
I mean, at the very least, it's just a nod to his outfit, right?
But then as well, like he was playing, like, you know, the original Donkey Kong game too on the arcade cabinet there. And as you mentioned, like
was he a family member, or was he just one of the like locals?
He's just a local. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if he was part of the family or not, but
I also like how they showed off a little bit more with like their initial commercial as well. Like I loved when like they're just lying down on the stools and have the capes on to make it really look like so Super Mario World stuff. It's just like they really ramped it up.
I got big vibes of the that rap that Michael Scott and Dwight do in The Office. That felt like beat for beat the same type of thing.
I want to say, it's very generic because it does come from like that 90s style, and it is partially based off of like the Super Mario Brothers show back in the 90s, and like their whole intro opening where like they use at least like the same metronome with it, so and pacing. So like I mean, whenever they can do some referential stuff, there's always some sort of nod in there to Mario stuff
Totally.
and anything. Probably the one thing I caught, which maybe other people didn't, is that there is a reference to Nintendo's oldest game. And you got to remember,
what is
this
it?
is a over, I think it's it's an over 100-year-old company. It's a reference to their playing cards.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
When was it? Do you remember?
It's in Brooklyn, and it's on one of the sides of the brick buildings. And like it's like they're like lucky playing cards, or obviously translated from Japanese to English. But
right.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But I mean, yeah, like that's the whole thing. They have the they split up the Duck Hunt reference for there. So like they have the Duck Cafe there.
Yeah, they had the duck.
And then for the dog, when they're in like the fancy people's house, it's like a it's like a fancy painting of like the dog, which I'm not sure if it's like supposed to, also reference to their dog, which I mean, if you hadn't noticed, even like all that dog and focusing more on Luigi, I think that's like references to like Luigi's ghost dog, because like he has the exact same shaped bone as well.
Okay.
So like when he steps on the bone, it's just like, oh, he's doing the opposite of what happens in Luigi's Mansion, where where if he dies in the game, he uses one of those bones and the dog brings him back to life. So but I mean, dude, like it's a whole laundry list of just references.
Yeah, man, we would be here all day if we like picked through every single reference.
So that's why like I'm gonna slow down on the gas there, because it's just like
I think
picking out.
My big one for the first act was definitely the camera switch.
I loved it,
where it just tracks along them jumping through the construction site. That was so good,
because I mean, like how the whole movie is shot as well is like references from the 80s to today, with like the Mario Kart stuff, and just like how dynamic all that is now, with like how Mario Kart 8 is now. But like starting off with just like, okay, like the first game we're really gonna show off here, outside of like the DK in the arcade, it's just like, hey, side scrolling, him just jumping up and down platforms, and it's just like, absolutely, thank you.
So good. Yeah, it's baked into every level of this film. All of the Easter eggs, like they use like a bunch of the soundtracks from the games for so like musical notes,
and they use not just simply soundtracks, but like sound effects as well. They're what I found interesting is like they were pretty soft. It wasn't like too much in your face, unlike maybe a couple others.
They used it when it was appropriate, right?
But actually my other thought with kind of just music as well is like when they were kind of using a little bit more pop music, they kept it to just more of like the actual instrumental parts of it. Like they didn't get too hard into the wording and stuff, because I think they were chasing more of like just the feeling that comes along with that song, as opposed to like, we're going to deconstruct this song and have it relate to whatever's going on with Mario Peach right now. So
when they do have like the lyrics in, it is very much just the like the chorus of most of the songs of like No Sleep Till Brooklyn and stuff.
Oh which is just it was.
I would not have guessed to be hearing Beastie Boys in a Mario movie.
Like, how perfect is it? Because I mean,
it was great
when they are kind of first starting, like it's just like, okay, like NES stuff is established, but like when they're kind of living, this is where I kind of feel like it's still contemporary, timeless, where it's just like I could easily see this movie taking place back in the 90s or today. Like they didn't have too much in your face technology or anything, because hey, they're simple plumber boys. So, which I mean,
I think it spanned many time periods, because like I think Luigi's phone was a touch phone. But then there's also like arcade machines.
Yeah, right about that. Interesting thing about Luigi's phone is that is the sound or his ringer.
What was that ringtone? I obviously know it, but
his ringtone from Luigi's Mansion whenever the professor calls him up.
So, that's what it was. Yeah. It's funny because like I have played Mario games and stuff, I like know like the sounds and the music and all of the like most of the references anyway, but like I'm not like diehard where like I can put a name to that right off the bat. It's like, oh, I know that. I can't name it though. I love that. I did appreciate them kind of like grounding it in Brooklyn to begin with, and not them just immediately jumping into the Mushroom Kingdom. Them being like with their family and like going through their day job and stuff, of them actually being plumbers, which was funny.
That really caught me off guard. Where it's just like, you guys quit your day jobs to be plumbers. Just like, what were they before? I mean, if you're looking at Mario, I mean, he's had like a lot of jobs. I mean, maybe he was a doctor before, so so he quit his.
Well, like I think they were referencing the fact that they worked for that bully guy, the like contractor or whatever that was bullying
from
them.
The Wrecking Crew, which is another NES game. So
yeah, I don't know if that was what they were referencing, is that they initially worked for the Wrecking Crew or something.
Yeah, I could see that. So it's hard, right? Because like when they first kind of plop you in that scenario, I mean, you're just scanning everything and you're just picking up
man, it definitely warrants rewatching, because like on the first one you're like just picking apart the scenery looking for Easter eggs and stuff, which I guess is where the like simple story and simple characters almost benefit to an extent, at least on like the first watch, because then you're not missing important plot beats and story beats because you were picking apart the scenery. So I guess that's a positive. But when they get to the Mushroom Kingdom, man, that whole sequence, I was curious as to how they were actually going to connect them getting there. But I think I liked the warp pipe sequence. That was awesome, and it works.
It works for me. I mean, it worked very well. Very much in their favor. It's just like, okay, like Italian boys, throw them in Brooklyn, because New York is famous for like, the giant ass sewer systems that they have. So then all we have to do is then just drop them down in there, and boom, they find a pipe. There they go. So, and
then they get there. Or I mean, actually, we also didn't really even touch on what was even before the Brooklyn stuff, which was Bowser's intro, right? Which was basically just that sequence from the trailer.
The main trailers, I think there was like an extra 5 seconds in it or something. I think where Bowser talked a little bit more, but
it was interesting, and it might be because it was mostly families and kids in my audience, but like I had I'm not like bashing the film, but like that sequence was, like we just said, like almost beat for beat from the trailer. So I was pretty like, just like, okay, this is happening. But like most of the audience and even like some of the older people were like laughing their asses off and like responding to it. I'm like, did no one see the trailer?
I mean, no.
Maybe that's the cynic in me, and like being so ingrained in like the film world and stuff, and being inundated with trailers all the time. It's like, I've seen this before. But like the whole audience was reacting. It's so fun. Like, it's just so funny to like
they love the penguins and them just sizing up to like the Koopa Troopas. So
totally. But there wasn't a ton more from that, but it still was a very effective intro to Bowser. Jack Black was, I mean, absolutely the standout performance of this movie.
If I could touch on this, and this is skipping ahead in the movie.
We can jump around.
This is where maybe with him it was perfect casting, especially with more recent stuff. I'm looking at your shelf now. You didn't pick up the new 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
I actually, because the Mario movie has come out, Nintendo put on a sale for a few of the the Mario games. So I have now officially picked up Bowser's Fury.
So one thing that they drew out of there is in the Bowser's Fury, like when he goes angry mode, it has like that heavy metal track, which then when they use that in the one scene with Bowser when he's initially on his throne or whatever, I'm just like, this is perfect because yes, that's Bowser, but then you have Jack Black on top of that, who obviously is very
totally,
much
man.
well
He's a
known. Yeah.
metalhead. Yeah.
But then
if we get more, I don't want to interrupt you, but if we get more Jack Black singing, I hope Bowser gets like a metal musical
that'd be great.
number.
But even actually all the music stuff there was perfectly set up. I mean, yes, Peaches was a very easy song. Did you see the kind of piano he was playing on?
Oh yeah, it was like a riff on like a piano brand, but it was like I don't even. It was like,
yes,
what was it?
It is
Is that also a reference though?
It's a Ludwig von Koopa. I think there is a Ludwig piano player, but then when you think of all of like the Bowser kids, one of them is Ludwig.
Okay, interesting. So did his kid make the piano?
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? But it's just putting that all together. It's just like,
maybe don't look into it too much. It's more of just an Easter egg. Yeah. I'm curious to know if I imagine Jack Black probably would have like signed on regardless. He doesn't seem like the type to be like, I'll only do this if I can sing. But like, I want to know if he was like, hey, Mr. Miyamoto, could I have a musical number in this movie?
I think he maybe the director had something in mind because
maybe they approached him.
But I mean, what is it like when you look at like a bunch of like, you know, like the entertainment special shows right now? He's full in on like the Bowser character. Like I think one of the initial ones where they had a couple people on, and they're just like, "Well, were you pretty excited for your role?" And everybody's just like, "Oh yeah, fine." And then it would cut to Jack Black, and he's there in a Bowser costume. So like a $20
or like full yellow.
Yeah. So I'm glad he loved the role, but I mean, I feel like, you know, if you're given the opportunity to do like a big standout character like this, I mean, who in their right mind would say no? So yeah,
absolutely. I can't wait to see more of him in the future. He was absolutely the favorite for me. I quite enjoyed Toad and Donkey Kong. I think they were kind of Toad more so than Donkey Kong. I felt was a little sidelined towards like the end of the second act and the third act. So I look forward to more Toad in the future. I did really like the butting heads of Donkey Kong and Mario throughout the film, like being at odds and then having to save each other or help each other escape.
Because that's very much touching on them early relationship from like the 80s.
Totally,
right? I mean, now like like they play sports and do Smash Brothers with each other all the time, right? Maybe just one of I mean, if anything is a low light is just with like the Kong Kingdom, it not being on DK Island. Like that was one thing I was expecting, is that it's just like when you would look on the map or like when they went there, I was expecting to see DK Island. Instead they just kind of like had like a general monkey head thing there. So but
I wonder if that was one of the kind of like rewrites or like retweaks of something where it was in order to fit with, because I don't know how extensive the lore is of Mario in the first place, but I don't know where in relation to the Mushroom Kingdom the Monkey Kingdom is, the Kong Kingdom is, or DK Island is. So I really like that whole scene. I loved the cart building scene. That was fantastic. I loved that the selectors were the same as the menu, menu screens as
Mario
well.
Kart, so. And I mean that definitely, you know, like all of like just the non-speaking role Kongs were great.
So who is the bouncer of the front gate that took him to the kingdom?
I want to say that is Funky Kong.
Funky Kong,
but I'm not sure. I might have to dive in and double check on that. I mean, I don't have Wikipedia or anything like that.
That was fantastic, though.
But I mean, as well, Cranky Kong.
He was great,
absolutely fantastic. I mean, like he was hard on his son, of course. And him telling Diddy Kong to settle down. I love that. So
That whole fight sequence was awesome too, and the layout of it being the original Donkey Kong game, right?
Of just like the iron bar platforms, and of course him
the barrels
jumping out and bouncing along, beating his chest to the DK rap.
To the that was awesome too. So good.
But yeah, no,
I feel like most of our highlights are just going to be whatever Easter eggs they included and how they incorporated them into the movie itself. Like that whole intro sequence of the actual Mushroom Kingdom, when Toad is walking Mario through the like market and everything. There's so much to pick apart from that whole thing. There's that little section where they zoom out and it's like a Mario level where he's trying to go through all the pipes, but he keeps messing up. That was fantastic.
That was great, because obviously he's brand new to all this still, right? He's not like the 40-year-old Mario. He's the brand new, fresh out of Brooklyn Mario. So
he's not baby Mario that we got to see in a flashback glimpse, which was a surprise Easter egg.
Them touching on like basically them as like the star children, where like him and Luigi, but then Peach as well.
Oh yeah.
So when they showed her as a baby coming there, like I'm guessing, from Earth or what have you, also from Brooklyn. I mean that's kind of like a good way of explaining it. I mean, because that's something that has never been explained in Nintendo lore.
Why the princess of a Toad population?
Yeah, when she herself
mushroom
resembles nothing like one. So I guess actually, one thing as well is I was expecting maybe to see a Toadette as well, but nothing.
I mean, that will come down the line for sure in the future. I'm very interested to see how they proceed with the Mario universe going forward. If we'll get like a Donkey Kong film on its own, a Luigi's Mansion film on its own, or if they'll just stick to mainline Mario for now.
They could do Toad, promote him to Captain Toad, bring along Toadette, and have like an Indiana Jones style like movie.
That would be great. Yeah, I would love that. That'd be fantastic. There's endless possibilities with future films for sure.
Do you want to touch on the one probably universal low light of the movie? What was up with Luma? The star.
Hold on, low light. That was easily one of the highlights for me, man.
Just talking with kids afterwards, they're just like, he was really creepy and weird. I'm just like, I get it. But in like the meantime, it's just like he's dropping like these huge philosophical things on you. It's just like, okay, yeah,
dude, that was like one of the redeeming factors of like it being for adults, because all of the adults lost their shit anytime Luma was on screen.
Yeah, and just
he was amazing.
Him just
we'll have to get maybe a little less nihilistic Luma if we ever go full Mario Galaxy in the future.
Yeah, my reasoning for it is that he's just separated from Rosalina or whatever right now. But
maybe that's why he was so nihilistic.
Right, it's just like nothing makes sense without her anymore.
Time means nothing. I loved Luma. In terms of other lowlights, though, I think I've pointed out the big ones. I actually don't think. I mean, we kind of touched on this already as well, but I don't think Chris Pratt was bad as Mario. I think he actually like fit into the role, and I warmed up to him as the movie went on. And I'm fine with him being Mario going forward. And I also just bought into his and Luigi's relationship. I thought it was really good. Their banter was pretty good as well. So
unlike kind of real world siblings that continuously bash on each other. I mean, they're brothers that have each other's backs, which I mean you see more in like with adults and stuff too, right? But they are.
Yeah, that's true. How old are they in this movie? Are they supposed to be? They've got full on mustaches, but they're living at home. They have like a kid's bedroom that they share together.
I think they're
it's
supposed
weird.
to be like young 20s.
Gotta be. If they're in their 30s, we got like a Step Brothers situation going on. It's a little odd, little weird, little uncomfortable. I understand the rent in Brooklyn is probably astronomical, so I mean, I'll let that slide. Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't a ton of other lowlights other than like the big ones. I do think they have a ways to go before they get to like before Illumination is in league with the likes of Pixar or like even DreamWorks at times when they're on their strongest. Yeah, it doesn't feel anything like Academy Award winning level, but I think it was still a very strong entry and a good foundation for them to build off if they decide to make more, which I would be so surprised if they didn't make at least one more film, especially considering how this film will likely do at the box office.
It's probably going to absolutely crush. Oh, it's opening weekend. So, because the theater I went to opening night sold out for all of its showings. So,
yeah, me too. But yeah, I think they overall achieved their goal with this. I think it's something Miyamoto and the people at Nintendo can be wholly proud of. And I think it's something that was made with care and attention to detail. Obviously, if it wasn't evident already by the amount of Easter eggs we've already been, and we haven't even scratched the surface, man, of like how much is in this film. There's so like you can pause the movie. It's one of those movies where you can pause it and just dissect frame by frame. It's crazy.
You really can. So, I do want to say with like a little bit more with just like the VFX of it all. I mean, just amazing. I loved when they were on the Rainbow Road and when you would see that catchlight in people's eyes and it's like rainbow color. It's just like, this is
that blue shell moment when the road smashes was so cool.
Yeah, no, that I mean, it caught me by surprise as well. Like I didn't even register at first because I think he was first driving down in like a Bowser car from one of the games, and so I just saw that. And so when he beat him, and then all of a sudden he just swaps over to blue shell. It's just like yes, of course.
You get like a hint of it with his helmet while he's driving the vehicle, but then you're like, is he gonna do it? How is this gonna happen if it is gonna happen?
And sure enough, and then actually like following up later on, I thought it was great that they were eaten by the N64 eel. You know, the thing that scared you as a kid from like the 2000s.
The thing that made you hate the water level.
And then to do something from a little bit newer Donkey Kong stuff when they're riding on his barrel. I mean, that's from Returns and Tropical Freeze. So,
don't they ride barrels in like 64 days and stuff too, or do they get shot out of barrels?
Like they're always getting shot out of barrels, but like them specifically riding like the rocket barrel.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would say it's a definitive recommendation, especially if you have kids. Young kids for sure will enjoy it. I think most kids of like
they're probably
any age will enjoy
already
it.
begging you to see it. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, if you haven't already took the family to see it, then it's definitely worth going to see in the theater. I actually thought the 3D was well used because I did see it in 3D.
I just got 2D. So
you got 2D? Okay. Yeah, I was like, I'm always hesitant about 3D nowadays, unless it's like an Avatar. But yeah, it was very much like it enhanced the film. I would say it brought more life to the screen, having a little bit more depth and things kind of flying out in moments. But yeah, a strong recommendation from both of us. It's light on the story and character department, but it is a fun, beautifully animated 90 minutes that will be good for the kids. Instead of maybe one pro and one con, we'll do our favorite Easter egg from the film. Scott, can you pick just one?
Man, for just Easter egg. Sorry, I know.
There's too many to pick from.
There's so much, honestly, is. I think them in like when they have the capes on in their commercial that you didn't see originally in it, like, is because my first one was Super Mario World, and it was all about, you know, getting that cape upgrade. So them just being on the stools, just flying out like that. I love that so much. So
yeah. I really loved the nod to Luigi's Mansion when Luigi was in Bowser's like abandoned castle or whatever.
Yeah, and it's a whole on. I mean, how he even starts off there with like the flashlight that barely works, and he's like, Mario. The entire time is just,
and the almost jump scare of the Shy Guys flashing in behind him. That was great. I also, I'm going to cheat a little. I do just want to shout out again that first 2D platforming sequence, especially because at the end of that scene, you get the castle. It's like a pizza joint or something, but it looks just like the castle, and Mario does the flagpole spin at the very end, and you get the little sound effect. It's so good.
It's just so fantastic. So
yeah, like we said, definitely worth going to see it in theaters, and I'm very excited to see where they go in the future with these films. Yeah, Scott, where can the people find you?
Can find me wherever you can type in Scoptimus7. So that's on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Sometimes I'm funny. But yeah, no, I mean, you'll maybe mostly find me on Twitter retweeting video game stuff. So
well, that is fitting. And then do you have any other recommendations at all?
Ooh,
anything you've watched or played or read?
I would recommend playing both Resident Evil 4 and also checking out the NoScore review for Resident Evil 4 as well.
Good plug.
So it's a fantastic game. Very much the opposite of Mario. It will eviscerate you. So yeah,
absolutely, yeah. Equally as cartoonish sometimes, though. I find. Yeah, we just did a review show on Resident Evil 4 Remake. Scott and I were there with our friend Kelly reviewing it. So if you want to check out our thoughts on that, then go check that out. I also did reviews for John Wick Chapter 4 and Shazam! Fury of the Gods most recently. Stay tuned because I also will be doing a review with Scott as well. We're actually going to record this right after this review for The Bad Batch Season 2, Star Wars The Bad Batch. That wrapped up last week as of the time of this recording. So we're going to go full deep dive into that as well. Also stay tuned for more Star Wars stuff this month. April is busy Star Wars month. We're going to be reviewing Mandalorian Season 3, Jedi Survivor. I might do a review on. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably at the very least do a Let's Play first impressions video for it on my Let's Play channel. You can go check that out at youtube.com/@NoScorePlays. I'm doing more so indie games on that channel. So if that's your type of thing, then go check that out. Otherwise, you can stay wherever you're listening to or watching this episode of the NoScore Review Show. You can also follow me on all the socials and on Letterboxd at NoScore, or you can find me at NoScore Reviews. And then, yeah, that's where we're going to call it for this episode of the NoScore Review Show. Scott, thank you again once more for joining me. And we'll see you all in the next review.
Thanks for playing my game.
Bye-bye. Wahoo!